Welcome to An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast. She's the architect.
And he's the DJ.
I am. All right, today we're looking at who's making decisions. So you want to go straight into giving our first example?
Yeah, so like you said, we're looking at decision making on the projects. I think this is where projects do tend to go a bit haywire.
Tend.
Yes, tend to go haywire. So I was on Instagram looking at Instagram stories, and there's a lady who had submitted something to a decorator, and it caught my attention.
Okay.
So I'll read it to you just now. My name is, and it's been blanked out. I've been following and seeing the great work you have done with your home. So she's referring to this decorator. So my husband and I are designing our home from scratch, and I was wondering if after building your home, you ever felt like redesigning or rebuilding a certain space. There's so much online, and I just can't seem to conclude. And I fear I may build and maybe change my mind or not like it anymore. Then she goes on to say, also, I may have used the word I a lot in the above text. That's because my husband keeps saying whatever you like. So how do I get him involved? By the way, we are at the farms and he feels it should be simple and plain. Simple is okay, but I'm not comfortable with plain. And I wanted to reflect us and our kids and something we will both like for a long time.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. What caught my attention is that she wants to get husband involved.
Yes.
And he says he wants it simple and plain.
Yes.
All right. But then she says, simple is okay, but plain,
I don't know.
I don't know. All right. Let's start from a project manager's point of view.
Yeah.
What do you think about this situation?
So there are a few things that I observed here. One, this example kind of like highlights the challenge with doing a project as a couple, because you're two different individuals, very different individuals. You've got your unique tastes, unique styles, unique preferences, and then you're coming together and you want to make one project that's got to accommodate everything. So basically, it's something new, isn't it? Because it's an element of you, it's an element of the other person, and you're trying to make one dream come true.
Yeah.
So I think that's a real challenge in a project. And when it comes to decision making, it can be a task. It can be a difficult task because you've got to get to a place of agreement. I think the thing with projects, it really is compromise. So, like in this example, the husband said, I want plain, simple. And she's like, no, I don't like it.
I don't like it.
I want
something else.
I want something else. So I think the challenge is how do you get to a final result? And really, there's a lot of compromise that happens. It's fun, I think, but it's also a lot of work.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's also a lot of work. Then I had a question for you.
Okay.
From what I noticed from this text. Because there's a point where she says, my husband says, just do everything, whatever it is that you want. But there seems to be a desire for her to have her husband involved in the decision making. And I've observed a lot, and it's not any academic observation or anything, but really just with couples where you have husbands who are saying, do whatever you want. And, okay, fine, there is the situation where the husband is fine with the wife making the decisions. But I'm talking about a situation where he's just not being involved as a position of safety, as a position of, I think it's going to be better for me. for my life if I just say everything is okay.
You are accurate.
But not that he not that he doesn't have an opinion about it.
Yeah.
And I just feel like with something like a home, because it's something that's going to benefit both of you.
Yeah.
And you can see even in the text, there's a certain level of frustration where she's like, I want him involved, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to get your male perspective on that.
Oh, that's a tricky one, but also at the same time, it's pretty straightforward. But life can be like that sometimes. It's usually what happens, and using this case as an example is you've got two individuals, a male and a female. It's a married couple, and in this case, the wife says she's trying to get the husband more involved, but she feels he's not being as involved as she would like him to be. But then, like in this case, she's asking for his opinion as a way of getting him involved. And what does he do? He says he wants something plain and simple. He's getting involved. But then she says, I don't like, is it the plain part or the simple part that she doesn't like? So you see what happens is that this scenario is repeated over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Where the male is getting involved.
Yeah.
You ask for my opinion, I'm giving you my opinion.
Yeah.
But it's not being taken. And like I said, because it happens over and over and over again, it's frustrating for the man, you know. And in lots of cases, men will tend to start withdrawing, and get to a point, again, like the male in this case, gets to a point where he's just saying, okay, then you do what you want. It's fine. Whatever you want to do is fine. But then she's getting frustrated. But I'm telling you what I want. But you're not taking it. And you're getting frustrated. I'm also getting frustrated because you're not taking my opinion.
Yeah.
And I get to a point where I just say, you know what? Whatever you want to do.
Whatever you
But
want.
even that, you're not happy with it. And but you're not getting involved. But I am getting involved, but you're not taking my opinion.
Yeah.
And so I guess to some extent it boils down to the differences in the way that women think and the way that men think. And like you rightfully pointed out, I like the word that you use, compromise.
Yeah.
You have to get to a point of compromise. But then to get to that point of compromise, there needs to be communication.
Communication.
As in deliberate efforts to sit down and you say, listen, this is what we're going to do. And what tends to happen in most cases is that discussion never
Doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen. It never takes place. And, you just think it's going to sort itself out, but it doesn't. So there needs to be compromise, but to get to compromise, we need to communicate. We need to sit down and point out, like, listen, but I'm telling you what I want, and I feel you're not taking it. And then you tell me that, you tell me whatever you have to say, and I listen.
Yeah.
So that needs to happen.
So there's lots I can respond to on that, but we'll go to another example.
Okay.
As we've been preparing for the show, we've been getting some feedback, and so I've got another example from another couple who are currently purchasing land. They're purchasing land in different areas, and both of them are lawyers. And the husband has been purchasing land before they met. He's been purchasing land before they met, and he's got quite a few properties to his name. And so they've continued since they've been married, but their in-laws are very involved in their life. And the wife's main concern is, and I'll read out a couple of questions here. One, how do you decide whose name to put on the title deeds, especially in an instance where you do not have children? Number two, how involved financially can one be in developing property that they have no legal title to? And then three, how can I, the wife, tell my husband to set a healthy boundary with his family so as to not have them get involved in their lives and decision making at the same time, not to offend them?
Well, that's
Yeah, it's
that's a
in-laws.
big one. In-laws and whatnot.
Yeah.
Have you encountered a situation like this in your building career?
I think there was one time I had a situation where I worked with a couple to design a house,
Okay.
and the father to the wife.
I remember that one.
Yeah, the father to the wife. Like everything was going fine. We had gone through this back and forth process of getting to what they wanted. Then the father says, no, they're having a child, so they need to have an extra room for the nanny.
For the nanny.
Yes. So whether that's appropriate or not, it doesn't really matter. But I think the frustrating thing was that you have this outside voice that's coming in that's upsetting the process that you have. I don't know. I think like in the way we think about being a couple, what we decide takes the first priority. But I think the challenge is how do you prevent these voices from coming in and then having an impact on your decision making, like this thing of the lawyers. I think for them the issues of legal title and whatnot. I mean, they're both lawyers, so they have
they can figure out to
yes,
a large
exactly.
extent, yes.
But then the fact that the wife is asking, okay, how do I protect this? How do I do this? You have a sense that she feels threatened, that this is going to be a thing that will affect us. It's been affecting us, and it's going to be a thing that will affect us.
Yeah.
And it can derail. It definitely can derail your project.
More than just your project, if you ask me. It can derail your marriage.
Your marriage, yeah.
Your relationship.
Yeah, so it comes down to how are you going to take the different voices that come, and what influence are you going to allow them to have?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what your thoughts are on it.
I think it goes, in this case, it goes beyond your building project. I think it speaks of your relationship as a couple, because these are things that you need to agree on, as in how are we going to handle our finances, how are we going to handle other people speaking into our relationship, and these are things that need to be agreed on beforehand. And like I said, because whatever you decide will affect how you deal with things. In this case, in-laws feeling that they have the right to speak into what's happening with let's say a building project. Yeah. I know we don't have this thing is like huge, because there are many different aspects. Again, you as a couple need to agree on how you will handle how you will handle your relationship, your household. These are things that need to be agreed on beforehand, so that if other people start speaking into your life, you say no, but my husband and I, or my wife and I, have decided this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, I think we have a tendency to not want to have those difficult conversations. But it seems to be a difficult conversation to have, to say that, okay, look, your father can't say this, or this can't be, we're not going this, or even telling your parents that, hey, you don't have a right to make decisions.
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad. But no, thank you. Easier said than done.
Yes, it's a tough one. It really is a tough one.
All right. So, in wrapping up, what would we say?
Okay, so in wrapping up, I think we have to accept the fact that projects are done in a particular context. So you're a couple. You're not doing it on your own,
No, you're not.
right? And other people will be affected by your project. So you may have kids, so they get impacted by what you do, and you'd also want to. You may be the type of family that wants to accommodate them as well. So definitely a project is done in a context, and we have to, and in a community context, and we have to acknowledge that and say yes.
And adding on to what you said,
Yeah.
like you're a couple, you're two different individuals
Yes.
coming together with different experiences.
Yes.
And that needs to be taken into consideration and discussed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one, you've got that context. Then two, in terms of you getting to decisions, you as the couple driving this project, you're the most important decision makers in the project. So you've got to find a way to make those decisions, because there will be many that you will be making during the course of the project. And yes, finding a way to, okay, this is how we're going to agree. Fight it out if you need to, and come to one conclusion. So one, you're the most important. Then when it comes to others, so we've talked about the in-laws, it could be your siblings, it could be your friends,
Could be
it could even
professionals.
be professionals, yes. So I, as a professional, can say, oh, I have preferences as well, isn't it? And then I can want to say to you,
Why are
oh,
you doing this?
yes,
You should be
exactly.
doing
Do
this.
this. So there has to be a way that you say that, okay, how is it that I'm going to take this information? So I think what's important is that at the beginning of your project, or any time in your project, you need to identify who are the different voices who can have an impact on your project, and how is it that you're going to filter them? How is it that you're going to allow that to influence what decision that you're going to make? Yeah, I think in the brief time we have, I think that
sums it up.
Yeah, that sums it up.
Okay.
That sums it up.
And with that's today's show.
Yeah. An Architect and a DJ Build a Home podcast is a Home Build Zambia production, recorded and produced in Lusaka. The show is hosted by Kalenga, he's the DJ, and me, Mphangela, I'm the architect. Video recording by Sharon, music by Bless the Creative, technical support provided by Bless the Creative. You can find us on Instagram at home_build_Zambia, or on our website, homebuildzambia.com, or contact us by email, podcast@homebuildzambia.com. Thank you for listening.